ask you all about Trump and speaking style and the need to win. I believe that this game is not quite a win yet.
Right.
I think he has to pull it out of himself tomorrow night because he hasn't won it yet. He hasn't won the week. I think he has to choose between what the safety managers around him will say. Get a script, get a good writer, and read it. In fact, rehearse it a few times, but don't put too much surprises in there. Or come out and do that stream of consciousness thing, which he's actually wickedly good at, which is to come out and just whatever comes to his mind, these free associations and the nicknames and the trash talk. And that wouldn't seem appropriate for this venue. And the other possibility, which I would love him to do, is almost like a Kevin Spacey, where you do an aside to the audience. You come out and in real time talk to them about the fact that, okay, I'm not a great candidate regularly by any standard, and Hillary's not a great candidate, so you got to make a decision about the future of the country, and that decision has to be objective, and you got to make a real decision about change or not change or something like that. And then you got to talk to them and say, look, just give me some chance. I get 4 months to prove myself. I'm thinking it through. Let me keep your mind open to me. I think I've got this thing better than anybody else with all my zaniness. What kind of how would you prepare him if you were in the corner with a guy with a towel over his shoulder? You get in there, you got to fight this thing. You got to go 15 rounds. This is your big one. You're Rocky. You got to win this.
I don't want him screaming, "Cut me, cut me."
No.
I want him
Adrian,
to be ready. Exactly.
Adrian.
I want him Melania, help me out. Look, here's the thing. What I want from Donald Trump, tell me a story. Tell me your America. I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah.
The biggest takeaway I've had from this week, I've been here for McCain, I've been here for Romney, is this feels like a funeral.
Yeah.
They keep telling me that the America they love is already dead. Well, gosh darn it, tell me about the one we're going to get with you. Not just the bad one that we've had under Barack Obama. And if he can tell me a story, if he can tell America a story, I think he wins tomorrow.
Fascinating. Amanda.
Well, I talked to some delegates today who support Trump. These aren't never Trump people, and they say that they want to hear him be a little bit more presidential, maybe say the same types of things, but they said in a slightly nicer way. And so sort of what you were saying, there's this balance between teleprompter Trump, who no one likes, he's so boring, and then sort of the let Trump be Trump, who is maybe a little bit too risky for sort of a setting like this. So he's gonna have to maybe figure out how to do it in the middle.
Where's that golden middle?
I haven't seen that middle too much from him. I mean, honestly, every time he uses that teleprompter that he bashes, it's too boring.
Man, give him some advice.
Well, I think I like this thing, sort of giving a vision. I mean, you know, Donald Trump is so different than so many people here, but they really like him. And we hear him bash people all the time. He goes off on these tangents. But what is he going to do? What is Donald Trump's America going to look like besides having a big wall?
I love those questions.
Well, it's definitely not going to be the third option that you laid out there, saying that maybe he's not that great of a candidate. I don't think we'll see any of that.
No, I meant the speaking in real time when the camera, because it's one of the only times in history, because of the nature of an acceptance speech, where you can actually stop talking for a minute and you go, let's appreciate this moment.
And you might
we're together on this. The American people are all listening and they're all thinking right now, has this guy got it?
Right.
And then you got to get them in that moment. You can just start talking to them like you would to a son or a daughter or a parent and have a personal conversation with the American people. It is an amazing opportunity. You don't have to rush through this crap they give you to read or say the usual stuff or trash Hillary again. But I have an idea. I would do a Republican speech, not a conservative speech. I would say, you know, in the middle of the Civil War, when the 600,000 guys are getting killed at point-blank range, Abraham Lincoln said, we can build the Continental Railroad. We can unite this country. He said we can have scientific agriculture because we're going to have state colleges and universities all across the country based on the set-asides from this railroad. We're going to create scientific farming, and we're going to do it in the middle of a civil war. And during the Great Depression, at the depths of the Great Depression, they built the Empire State Building in 1 year, and it's still the build. Eisenhower, during the so-called do-nothing 50s, built Route 90, 80, 70, 95, everything in this country that unites this country and stopped us from just being a bunch of county roads and a bunch of speed traps in South Carolina. He built the road system that unites this country. The people are dying for a builder, not a brand guy, but a builder who's going to say, you know what, I'm tired of having third-rate railroads, fifth-rate railroads. I want to catch up to the Chinese, catch up to the Japanese, the Europeans. They got the TGV. You don't even hear your cup sits on the table and it doesn't rattle. Why are we still riding around with this buckboard they call Amtrak? It's a joke. And I think the country, they don't trust Democrats to spend their money because the Democrats will do it with minority set-asides and councilmanic privilege and Davis-Bacon and environmental studies for 30 years. They'll never get anything done. But they would trust a Republican that was willing to do it. They would.
And you did
if
hear a little bit
of
the talk about the infrastructure plan. Yeah. That's something that you heard.
Don't use that word, by the way. That is a D-bag word.
He says
infrastructure is the worst word, and it is the ugliest word. It means nothing to anybody. You say infrastructure, they say boring. Stop talking.
But
how about building stuff?
On the more tactical point, he's got to ride with the horse that brought him. You know, I mean. We hear him talking off the teleprompter, and it may be lower risk, but it's definitely lower reward. You're right. He's better when he speaks extemporaneously. There has to be a balance. I don't know what it is. I don't think we've really seen it to this point.
Well, what about, let me try this, because we all who've been lucky enough to meet these people, I've met them both back room, and they were always better back room. Most politicians are, because they're terrible sometimes out front. They're just BSing us all the time. But back room, they tend to be like real, and we don't know if that's real either. That's just cozy. We don't know if it's real. But Trump does know how to talk to you. He can sit on the couch of the green room and have a conversation and say something like, what do you hear? I mean, that kind of conversation. What do you think about that? You know? There's a back and like Hillary is more like, Hillary doesn't share that much, but this guy knows how to talk.
Well, Trump, even in his big speeches and as his rallies that I've been to, I mean, he notices the audience, he engages them, he feeds on their energy, and he changes what he's saying based on the crowd, and that's something most politicians don't do.
I agree with you completely. It's interactive.
Yeah.
And the key is though, and again, this is what I said before. If you mix that with a story, what I want to hear him say is
story about the past and the future.
A story about the future. There's a 15-year-old kid who I met out there. You know, gangbanger, changed his life around. Mother went to Trump University. There's a guy who I met who came over the wall. He came over to this place legally. He decided he was going to go back. He decided to work. Tell me those stories. That'll work for Trump.